You never know what tool, what adjustment layers to use inside of Photoshop to edit photos that could look like this. You are in the right video. I've been using Photoshop as my main software for years now, and this is by far my favorite software to color grade all of my photos. And so today I want to show you my favorite adjustment layers that I use regularly to edit all of my photos. So let's jump inside of Photoshop. Here we are going to work on this image here that I captured in Bruges in Belgium. And so I want to show you different adjustment layers. So first of all, if you don't have this adjustment panel, you go to Window and you click on Adjustment. And you can see there are different adjustments and we don't need all of them, especially to color grade. And there are some that are more interesting than others. And here I would like to talk about curve, especially. Then hue and saturation is also interesting in my opinion. Color balance is my favorite one. Then we have selective color, that is also very interesting. And I find color and vibrance pretty interesting. Is relatively new inside of Photoshop. And we also have a gradient map that I really like. So let's start with curve. So here I'm not going to talk to you about the RGB curve where everyone will tell you to do an S curve. Here we are not going to talk about that in this video. I want to talk about the different channel, red, green, and blue channel. This is very interesting to do color grading because you could absolutely color grade your whole image just with curves and with different curves and by using the mask. So if you go inside of the green channel, you should know that a curve in the left part, this is the black and the shadows, and in the right part, this is the highlight. So if I bring my red curve towards the left, it's going to add some red to my image. And then if I bring the highlight down with the red curve, because the opposite color of red is cyan, then I'm going to add some cyan to my image. And if you have some kind of red that is very saturated and you want to desaturate this red, a technique that you can use is if you don't have a saturation slider, is to add some cyan to the red and it's going to desaturate the red. And so, you know, just with this curve, you can already do quite a lot. If you want to target the shadows, then you just take the dot here that is at the bottom left. And if you lift it, it's going to add red in the shadows. And if you bring it to the right, it's going to add some cyan to the shadows. And by the way, I think it looks pretty nice with some cyan in the shadows. We're gonna keep that. And let's add some red in the highlights. And you can also use the green and the blue channel. And so, yeah, if you use the green channel, the opposite color of green is magenta. And if you use the blue channel, the opposite color of blue is yellow. So that's really important to know a bit about color theory if you want to be able to use the different color adjustments by knowing what you are actually doing. And so if you are interested to go more in depth with color grading, to know enough color theory as a photographer, I really recommend you to check out the Color Code. This is my color grading course for photographers. And I do teach color theory linked with color grading and photo editing. And the goal is that you make peace with color grading while you are editing, is that you understand how colors work. And so you never have to guess what slider you need to move. And I teach you that with a 4-step method that you can apply on all of your photos. If you are curious about it, the link will be in the description. So this is how the curve tool work, and if you use it with a mask, you can really target one area in the image. So yeah, curve, really recommend using this. Then we have hue and saturation. So this is how it looks like. There is different way to use it. You can use the hand picker here if you want to target a specific color. So if you click on it and then you're like, okay, I want to change the color of this wall here, you would just click on it and then it's going to say, okay, this wall is this kind of blue here, a deep blue, and then you can change the hue, the saturation, and the lightness of this area. It's going to change the wall image. If the color that you picked appear in other part of the image, it's also going to change in the other part of the image. So if you want to really target, for example, just this wall here, you would have to pair it with a mask. So yeah, this is hue and saturation. Personally, I would use hue and saturation to target one type of color and then use the saturation or lightness sliders. I rarely use hue and saturation to change the hue of my color. So here we could feel like maybe the blue is a little too saturated. So if we bring the slider down a little bit, and then maybe we can darken it or lighten it. I prefer darkening it. It looks nicer. So yeah, that's how hue and saturation works. Now color balance, this is definitely my favorite one. I use it on all of my photos, and sometimes I actually color grade only with color balance. So color balance, the way it works is that you're gonna have shadows, midtones, and highlights to be able to target the shadows, the midtones, or the highlight. And then you have RGB and their opposite color, cyan, magenta, and yellow. And so if you want to target only the shadows, for example, and add more blue to it or more cyan, this is how you work. And here, of course, I've been exaggerating the thing a little bit, but I would recommend you to really work with small numbers. But also, like every adjustment, pair it with a mask. So for example, here, if I wanted to make the roof more red, I would add more red here, then invert my mask, Command I, zoom in on my image, and with my brush, I would brush the roof. And so now my color balance is targeting only the roofs. So that's really something I recommend with every adjustment layers. And if you are color grading, try to work locally at some point at least. And so this is before and this is after. And of course, we would have to do all the roofs, otherwise that would look unnatural. Maybe this one as well. Okay, well, you get the point. Here it's not perfect. Maybe I would create another color balance to do those ones, because here it starts to look a little weird. And so this is before and this is after, and I only targeted the roofs with color balance pair with mask. Then we have selective color. Selective color is really interesting as well. So the way it works is that it's going to target specific colors: red, yellow, green, cyan, blue, magenta, and also white, neutral, and black. So that's why it's really interesting. So for example, if you have a lot of red in your image, but you want the red to be a bit less saturated, you're gonna add some cyan to it, and it's going to desaturate the reds. So here, look at the boat here. There is a lot of red, and I'm gonna add a lot of cyan, and look how it desaturates the red. Sorry, I'm doing it again. This is before, this is after. I'm going to zoom in a bit. Before and after, and I didn't use a saturation slider, but I just added some cyan to the red. And you can also manipulate light of a specific color by using the black slider here. So if I bring it to the left, it's going to lighten it. If I bring it to the right, it's going to darken it. Okay. Usually if you darken one specific color, it's going to make it richer. Look at this. Let me zoom in again. It will be easier for you to see. See how the color is now a lot richer than without the black slider. Okay, so yeah, this is selective color. And yeah, if you want to tint your black in one specific color and your white with the opposite color, it's going to create a split toning. So I'm going to show you that. I go to black. Let's say I want to add some magenta to the blacks. And then to the white, I'm gonna add some green. And it's creating a split toning. So here I don't have a lot of white actually, but this is how you create a split toning in one image. Okay, so yeah, here, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of this adjustment, so I'm just going to toggle off, but this is how selective color works. Then we have color and vibrance. This is pretty new inside of Photoshop, but I really love it. It's actually just a temperature and tint slider. Before it was only available inside of Camera Raw for Photoshop, and now it's available as an adjustment. So it can be interesting also to change the overall temperature of your image. So same, don't exaggerate, don't go crazy with your slider. With every adjustment, you should really work with small numbers to make it natural. And here you have the vibrance and the saturation slider. Okay, and then gradient map is pretty interesting. I'm going to show you how it works. So it's creating a gradient map. So you just click here on the gradient of color. And then you're gonna kind of create a filter of color. So you can add a color in the shadows. So you would pick, for example, like a dark blue, and that'll be the color for your shadows. And then you add a color for your highlights. So let's say the opposite color, so light kind of yellow, something like that. Or maybe let's do a light pink. I like it. I like blue and pink together. It looks really nice. And then I click OK. And what we're gonna do, of course, it doesn't look really good. We are going to reduce the opacity. And you choose a number between, 5 and 20%. And this is before and this is after. It's very subtle. You can do like more crazy adjustments if you want. See, we could, I don't know, the color, and it creates a really nice filter. So yeah, experiment also with gradient map because it can be really interesting. And once again, all of those adjustment layers add some mask, and you can always add multiple color balance to target different area in the image. And by the way, I want to show you the final edit. And so here, this is the final image. There was a night image. I really wanted the viewer to focus on the little light coming through the windows. And you can see that here, this is all my color grading layers, and I have a combination of different adjustment layers, but I have a lot of different color balance layer with different masks targeting different area. And so I also have hue and saturation, curves, and yeah, that's it here on this edit, and also have a bit of color and vibrance layer here. And so this is the before and the after, before and after. So yeah, take one of your photos and experiment with those different adjustment layers. You can see that you can really go quite far with color grading using just a few adjustment layers. And if you never know what kind of color to choose for your photos, what kind of sliders to push, then I think you would really benefit from the color code. That is my color grading course for photographers. The link will be in the description. And if you like this video, I would highly appreciate if you could add a little comment. Let me know what you would like to learn next inside of Photoshop, or if there is any specific technique you would like to learn. And I'll see you in the next video.